Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Blackbull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Blackbull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. Get either the Essential Plus or Premium plans absolutely free. All you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Blackbull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below. Hey, start trading Forex indices and commodities with up to 800k of Blue Guardian's capital risk-free. Just pay a small one-time fee to take the challenge, hit a profit target and get funded. Then keep up to 90% of your profits and enjoy fast weekly payouts. Now for futures traders, Blue Guardian Futures offers up to 450k in funding with 100% profit on your first 15k. With low targets, no activation fees and unlimited resets, it's one of the best deals in the industry. Visit blueguardian.com or blueguardianfutures.com to start trading today and grab their limited time discount code.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Brinks Trades coming to you live with another week of breakdowns. Hope everybody is doing well. And so again, if you guys don't know me, you guys hopefully should know me by now, but Brinks Trades, aka the resident indices analyst for the Trading Nut podcast. So I come on here every week and I basically just break down what I think is going to happen in the charts, based on last week's predictions, and then kind of project, based on current price action, what we think is going to happen this week. So big week last week. I actually had a few good days trading the markets, and a lot of our projections hit, especially when we start looking at the currencies, and I believe the indices did as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get things pulled up, but as usual, per usual, I love to see what people are calling in from. So obviously I have a community of traders that I teach, in the US, but we get traders from all over the world to come on and do this. Or come on and watch every week. I know Cam is based in Australia, which is really cool. But just, this is a global community. So I love seeing where people are calling in from. I love seeing where people are, watching this. And obviously a lot of people watch this on the replay as well. So, North Carolina, shout out to North Carolina. I wonder what part. I was just in Raleigh not too long ago for some other stuff. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. I always start my analysis with the dollar, right? And so basically, again, I do dollar analysis because dollar is king, right? So when we're looking at a lot of the currencies, a lot of the majors, right, and a lot of the indices, right, they're all going to be based on what dollar's doing. So if we have an understanding of what dollar's doing, then we can get a better understanding of what the market's doing. So we go ahead and get that pulled up. We got about 10 people on the call, so usually we get about 20 to 30 by the time I'm done. So give it a couple seconds. But yeah, so again, if we start with dollar analysis, right? So coming into the week last week, there's a couple levels that we wanted to see projected and hit, right? And so going back up to the weekly time frame, we basically had seen this huge weekly structure. This tanked, right? We traded up, took out, these previous highs down here over the past, few months, right? Came just shy of taking out this level here. I thought actually we were going to run for this liquidity up here, this trendline liquidity, but we didn't quite get that far. And so again, when you have an original idea of the market and the market shows you otherwise, that it wants to go the opposite direction, you got to be fluid. You got to be able to move with it, because if you don't, you're going to blow an account, man. And that's not a good feeling. We've all been there before. So again, so coming into the weekly analysis on dollar, there's a couple levels that I wanted to see respected in continuing the downside trend. So we had traded really back into broken structure, taking out these lows here, and that kind of give us a shift in market structure long term, especially since this is the weekly time frame. This is probably going to play out for the next few weeks. We could see a few months of this, right? So there's a couple levels that I wanted to see traded back into. I guess on a weekly level was this huge volume imbalance here. And if we go back, obviously, one previous week, none of these candles were here. Yeah, so I wanted to see the market trade back up into this fair value gap here, potentially even retest this inverted fair value gap that we just, broke through, right? Similar ideas as support turning into resistance. Um, so we saw the market trade back up into this imbalance here. Again, this is the projection. I wanted to see the market, at least trade into this gap. And once it traded into this gap, ideally staying below consequent encroachment. But we did have this higher gap up here that I thought the market could respect as well or retest. So I was okay with it coming back up, at least to the high end of this imbalance here. But we actually were very bearish, right? And how do we know we were very bearish? Is because we stayed below that consequent encroachment level. So we ended up rejecting and running lower. So this was a very kind of like compact weekend dollar, right? And so it wasn't a huge expansion. I think we might get that this week, right? And if we jump down to the lower time frames, I know I usually keep things in the daily time frame and the weekly on these calls, but just wanted to call this out here that we ended up getting a break in market structure, right? Some people might call this a head and shoulders pattern, right? But essentially we are running liquidity and really building liquidity below these lows, and we're running out and taking them out. So what do I want to see happen next week? Well, I want to see the market trade back into this imbalance to start the week off. Next week is going to be a very crazy week because I think it's NFP week. I'll verify that before we get off the call. But yeah, I want to see the market trade back in here, right? And then go lower. And then really look to start to attack the rest of that sell side. My target for this week actually is not that low. My target for the week is going to be this imbalance here. If we get a run through this, cool. I mean, I think we're going to go down for a while, but this is just where I'm looking based off of the liquidity there. So I want to see the market eventually work its way down to that level there. This could be a couple days. This could be all of next week. This could be the next week or two, right? We've been pretty choppy pretty much through the last 2 weeks. So this could be a rapid expansion down, or we could take our time getting down here. But ideally, this is my initial target, right? I'm going to make a call level there. So ideally, I want to see the market continue to run down to 103.919. And then ideally, the two other levels that I'm looking at, if we do get an expansion past that, are 103 on the dot. Let's just call it 103. And then 102.82, 103. If anybody's a Young Jeezy fan, that was my album back in the day, like 10 years ago. 103. Okay, so what I want to do next is basically go look at some of the currency futures. So again, right, so if we're looking, at this chart and we're saying that dollar is bearish, we're going to want to see all, US based core currency pairs rise, and obviously the ones, euro based, GBP based, the rest of the majors, right? We want to see those go lower, right? So anything with euro in the front or the currency pair USD in the second place, we're going to want to see those move opposite. So we're going to want to see those go up. Wait, did I say that right? I think I said that right. So anything dollar, led, we're going to want to see bearish, and anything euro or other asset led where the USD is the second currency, we're going to want to see that go down. So coming into this euro, I'm actually really excited about euro because we did pretty much played out to a T what we wanted to see. And so if you guys have been following over the last week on euro, again, I trade futures mostly. I did actually pass a couple of Forex prop firm challenges, so I am bouncing back and forth between the markets. But you might see me bounce back and forth between 6E1, which is the euro futures, and or euro USD. I guess I'll keep a euro USD. I know we got a global audience here, so ideally, so basically what I wanted to see happen last week in euro is we ran this high, and I told everybody that going back to last week, we rejected these highs. Our overall target was here, right? We grabbed buy side here. We ran it once, then we ran it twice. But not only did we run it twice, we also took out the high of last week and then traded back into the range and really started to go bearish. And so ideally, when I saw this, I was like, we probably will dig deeper into this imbalance. This is a huge imbalance that we needed to fill in and really mitigate orders, right? And so ideally, I wanted to see the market run lower, and my target, especially since we started the week here, right? If I go back to Friday or to Monday, we started the week here. I figured we would probably dig into this fair value gap a little deeper. And inside of this fair value gap here, we also had a 4-hour imbalance right there. So if we fast forward, my actual draw on liquidity was here. Was this one right here? I wanted to see the market come into this and really find reasons to basically go the other way, right? And seeing as this bigger picture, the weekly time frame is still bullish, right? We still have this huge imbalance here. So there's I didn't expect this to be a long-term bearish trend. I think we're long-term bullish, but I figured we might get a counter trend week, especially when we wicked off of that high and then traded back into the range. So what actually ended up happening was pretty much on point, right? And so the updated analysis, I said, I wanted to see the market take out this daily low, and then when it's took there, I wanted to see the market really trade back into that fair value gap. And I called that out in my chat. Again, if you guys are not in my Discord community, join that for free. It's a free access. You get to check out not everything, but you get access to the general chat where we have conversations. You can see some of the trader interactions, and it's something that again is just another tool, another resource, right? And a lot of times if the market updates throughout the week, then I will change my bias and I'll put it in there, right? I can't obviously hop back on the call, but that's my free public Telegram. And then there's also a paid mentorship aspect to that as well, right? So I mentor obviously, but that chat right there is explicitly free. So go ahead and join that, get more access, and again, it doesn't hurt to have somebody who has a decade of experience call out trades. Or call out projections. At least I don't call it trades for that group, but the mentorship group I do. So again, we traded into that. And so what I wanted to see once we hit this is really some type of breaker structure, some type of level that I think the market could have ran to really give us some type of liquidity. What do we do? Boom, we traded back up. We broke structure on the 4-hour and we closed here. So what do I want to see going into next week? Well, we're bullish now, right? I firmly believe this is what we wanted to see. So there's two levels that are really drawing my eyes here, and I'll kind of outline them for you. The first one is this fair value gap up here. And I'm just going to get rid of some of this stuff. Is this 4-hour fair value gap? It's pretty wide, pretty apparent. I do ultimately think we're going to head back up here and kind of continue on with this bullish trend. We just had to trade away from this for a second. So what I want to see here is, Monday for the market to trade back into this range. Boom. Look for opportunities to buy inside of that and then really take things to that high. I might swing trade if I find the right position. 60 point. I'm already doing analysis on potential trades. So I might swing trade something like this. But I also will be looking for short-term entries. And that's the part that I don't show on these calls is really what my entry process looks like and what that looks like on the lower time frames and what I'm looking for. But I want to see the market at least get to here, right? And see how we treat this imbalance. Ideally, we'll invert this and keep running, but I can't. I don't want to hold through this. So this will be my first initial target, and then this will be the high of the month or the last couple of weeks will be my official second target or take profit that we'll hold to. So, depending on where you're looking at, it's either a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 trade based on this time frame alone. So we'll end up, kind of diving back down into those smaller time frames for trying to find better entries and things like that. So, that's what I'll be looking at for this week coming up on Euro. Again, so I'm very bullish, right? Just like the opposite of dollar, I'm bearish on there, I'm bullish there on here. So GBP, I think, is going to be the same situation. It's a little choppier on GBP, so it's not as clear. We didn't firmly get a clean break of structure, which kind of worries me a little bit for the overall. But I think based on the chart analysis, we also didn't dig a lot deeper into this. I wanted to see the market come down here. And the market really just kind of stuttered on pound, but it ran lower on euro and dollar. So I think ultimately, the market is telling us that we didn't want to go down into this range, right? And so I'm going to stick with the bias that we're going to go long. So I'm going to be looking for long entries. But I do want to see a clean break of structure. We didn't really get that yet. Here it was really just kind of in consolidation. So kind of the same level as last week. I want to see the market drive over this 4-hour high right here. If we go to the daily time frame, you can see it probably a little better. But I want to see the market trade over this, man. We got to get over this before I would even start to look long on pound. And I think obviously they're going to flow in the same direction as euro most of the time. But you just want to trade the one that's clean, right? You want to trade the pair that's cleaner to you and has the better price action. Because even if it goes up, just because it goes up does not always mean there's a good entry for that. So, a lot of the time, and honestly, what I do on these calls is I really just break down, uh, the overarching pairs to really pick the one that I think is going to be the best one to trade for that next week. And then even day to day, right? I'm constantly evaluating to see, okay, which one has the best price action for what we want to see, and the cleanest price action. That's the one that we're going to take. So ideally, again, 6B, same idea here. Let's go ahead and go to NASDAQ. NASDAQ did the full yesterday. And this lined up exactly with projections. So this is what we wanted to see on NASDAQ was the market really trade. Oh, man, I called this to a T. It's crazy. So what we wanted to see here is the market really trade back up into this a couple levels, and I'll look at them on a weekly time frame. Let's see if MAQ is up. Yeah, boom. So we wanted to see the market trade back into this overall fair value gap. And not only do we have a fair value gap here, and I called this out a bunch of times with our mentorship students, that we also had a volume imbalance there, or a gap. Right. And so between all these levels, I really want to see the market, retest the zone, but really just get the hell out of here. Right. Like I just wanted it to take off and go once we hit this range, because I think we were still, pretty bearish. Right. And that's what I called out in the chat, is that we are still extremely bearish. There was a lot of stuff going on geopolitically that really hasn't changed. If anything, it's gotten worse, right, with the tariff situation and the economy, as far as all the changes and implications and rules that are going in. So this, I honestly don't see. I see a world where we're going to be bearish for a while on Nasdaq, and this is going to be like this is the recession potentially that we've talked about, for like last year. So, but yeah. So ideally, I want to see the market go lower, right? I want to see this continue to go bearish, and we reject it from there. And so I told my chat, once we inverted that gap, I was like, we're probably going to go down. And what ended up happening, man, Friday we tanked. We tanked. It's a crazy sell-off, and it was pretty bad. So, I know somebody did really well. So what am I looking at next week? We got these relative equal lows here, right? I would not be surprised if the market opened up tomorrow or Monday and came out and ran those, traded back into this range here, and then went lower. I also wouldn't be surprised if we gapped to start the week next week, gap down. And just with all this momentum, we pretty much closed on the low. I mean, like, that's insane. We barely ever see a candle where it closes on the low, but it's like we close pretty much like 2 points off of the low of the week in the day. So ideally what I wanted to see here is the market really just run down and run to hell, basically. Keep going. Boom. That's our next draw on liquidity right there. That's going to be our next target. We could come back up and mitigate this, or we could just keep going. So ideally, best case scenarios, what I want to see here is I want to see the market potentially trade back into this range here. Best case scenario. I don't know if we'll get that, but that's what I want to see, is the market trade back into the range like that and go lower, right? I mean, it's very, very easy call. We're extremely bearish. If you're trying to buy this, it's not a good look. Like, you should not be trying to look for bullish setups right now on NASDAQ. ES. Let's go look at ES real quick. Same thing. I mean, this is bearish, man. I mean, same level too, which is awesome. We called this to a T, right? But Yeah, same levels on the pullback. Where am I looking? Except here, we actually ran that low. So I'll be looking at this. This is kind of like the next low that we could potentially run to. I want to see, we did not take out the low here. We're a little bit further off. So I want to see how the market reacts to this level here. Last week's low, or a few weeks ago low, 2 weeks ago. That current low is going to be our target. I'm just going to say sell side first target. And that level is going to be at 5,558. And then the next level that we want to see hit is really here, 5,310, with regards to consequent encroachment in the middle, that 50% right there. So yeah, ideally that's what I want to see, is that level there, then run into that level, then that level, the low where we think there's going to be sell side right there. So those are the 3 levels that I'm looking at over the next few weeks for the market to really come down and hit, pending anything crazy. Let's look at YM real quick. And again, if you guys have questions at all, feel free to throw them in the chat as we go. I mean, these relative equal lows are pretty obvious as far as draws and liquidity. But I'm looking at 2 levels again here, but nothing's changed here. Like, this is all still bearish. I think we're going to come back down here. So there, then there. 2,000 points. Again, I really want to see what happens when we take out sell side here. But I mean, these played out perfectly to a T last week. So ideally, we'll see the market run lower and take things out and go lower that way. So let's see. So nothing too crazy there. I'm going to look at gold because I said I would start incorporating that. I actually took a trade, outlined a trade on gold for my community. It ended up being like a $2,000 trade. So that was cool. But we're pretty much trading at all-time highs on gold. We broke all-time highs on that. Ideally, best case scenario, for just getting rid of this and clearing this out. I mean, gold is an easy call. I mean, the target is running towards all-time highs. I think gold's going to make a lot of new highs this year. So if you see opportunities on there, definitely capitalize. They don't happen every year, but just tumultuous times, gold tends to go crazy. So ideally, this is ideally what I want to see, is the market trade back into that range, bringing this down to a 4-hour time frame, 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, maybe we could do something like this. We run back, respect consequent encroachment, and then run things higher. Right. That's what I'd be looking for, some level of sell side to get taken for the week. I don't really see too much here. We're also trading inside of a 4-hour fair value gap. So if I dig a little deeper, this might be a chart that's like, I want this to kind of do a little bit more. On the downside, I could see some levels that we could take. Like, we have this open fair value gap right here, 15-minute time frame, this range here. So there's some levels that I think the market could potentially run to and go higher. So let's see. As for the dollar, I think we'll get a reversal. Weekly. So someone says on dollar, I think it said T Brooks. Yeah, T Brooks. On the dollar, on the hour, and the weekly. Let me look at the. Yeah, so if you're saying, like, I guess, are you talking about a bullish reversal or a bearish reversal? I think we're gonna keep coming down. To be honest, I think long term we're gonna take this low, and then what happens after that, I'm not too sure. I could see us running to this gap down here on the weekly long term. But in the short term, I really don't have too many levels. Just this one right here. But I think we're going to continue on. I think this was the reversal, especially in the weekly time frame. I think we could at least run back to this level here. I really want to see what happens when we take this. Just looking at things from a premium and discount level. I mean, we're definitely in the discount. So I want to see how we react when we take this low. But as of right now, yeah, I think this is the start of a bearish reversal. I do think we will go back up though. Like obviously everything is cyclical, right? I could see us coming here for sure. There's a couple other imbalances in between this level that we could run to, but I think when we broke structure like this, I mean, it's pretty violent. We're going to get a second swing most likely. So yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen on dollar. Going back to gold though, yeah, again, I want to see this play out like this. If we take the high, if we take out the high first, then we might just trade back into the range or keep going. I don't really want to I don't want to short this. Like I don't really want to short this because it's so bullish that shorting this would be, dumb in retrospect. But I really do want to look for opportunities to buy, but I want to see the market really break structure first, head down here and then go up. If it runs this high first and then trades back into the range, then we could see bearishness extended. So it's really just what it hits first. Ideally, I want it to hit sell side first. And then, so I think that's pretty much everything. I'll look at a couple of the other currency pairs that I'm watching this week. Again, AUD USD. The thing that scares me about all of the currencies long term is how AUD and NZD have been reacting. So if you look at, and I'll pull up two things for you guys, AUD and then Euro. And again, you want to look at all of the charts because they can give you market relationships to get a better picture of what's going on. So the issue that I have or the only kind of like hole in my theory about, Euro going up and GBP going up is the fact that this NZD or AUD and NZD have not really moved at all over the past few months, right? They've really just been in this range trading all year. And so usually when a currency pair gets held, it's usually saying the other ones are digging for liquidity. And it's just ready to reverse. So with this price action, I mean, there's potentially a possibility that we could just maybe hit a high and then just keep going back down and take all this out. If you look at NZD too, it's also doing the same thing. Like it didn't really go anywhere. It did have that run, but it inverted that gap and it's heading back down now. So I think I think there are some really good opportunities to short on NZD and AUD, but I don't know what that means long term for this. And I want to stick with my original bias that we're going to continue to go back up. We've broken structure, at least see how we are until we get to here. We could hit this fair value gap or this high and then just tank, right? So it's kind of why you have to take things level by level. But as of now, I'm still bullish. So I really want to see how this happens, how this kind of plays out, and what this kind of means for everything. But because this didn't really go anywhere. I mean, it didn't go anywhere near as high as Euro did. I'm sorry, Euro or pound. So again, if you look at pound too, we shot up over the past like few weeks and months, like 700 pips, something crazy. So these didn't. So it just kind of scares me that this could be these pairs and dollar hunting for liquidity before everything reverses and goes right. So again, paying attention to intermarket relationships is key. You shouldn't let it, give you analysis paralysis where you can't, make a decision on things, but just keeping things in mind. And again, you got to trade what you see. So not what you think, but what you see. So just a thought though that, I would not 100% be surprised if, euro and pound tanked, uh, once they maybe took out an old high or whatnot. So just something I'm keeping in mind. So again, I'm still sticking with the bullishness, but that's just what I see based on where we're at right now. So I think that's everything. If you guys have any other pairs you want me to analyze, I can do that. But I love answering questions at the end of these calls, just so we can get a better understanding of, just, you know, questions that I wish I would have been able to ask somebody that had a decade of experience trading. So, first question is from Appa. Appa Asma. I love Avatar, man. That's a great show. So what pairs do you trade? So everything I outline is stuff that I trade. I probably trade more currencies now than I do, or more currencies. Um, uh, yeah, more currencies than I have in the. Well, no, I've always really been a currency trader. So I came in the game as a forex trader, incorporated indices, so Nasdaq and ES. I'm probably trading less indices right now than I am, and it's just because the markets are a little bit crazier. The reads on them are a little bit more difficult intraday. So like long term, yeah, like these plays that I'm calling out are playing out, but you got to be able to find entries intraday because we don't have millions of dollars to just trade off of the higher time frames, right? So I've been trading a lot more currencies lately than maybe I have in the past year, but um, really been focusing on your majors, right? So euro, pound, um, AUD, NZD. I would say euro and pound are probably the two that I focus on the most. And so I think the biggest thing too is that we've had this huge shift over the past 10 years, 15 years. Um, or I mean, over the last year. So when I came in the game about 10 years ago, everybody was forex. It was like people that were trading options contracts, and then they were like transitioning into forex, right? Because forex is easier, a little bit easier to trade in terms of like the technical stuff and knowing, not knowing all like deltas and expiration contracts and all that stuff like that. It's a little bit easier. So a lot of people were, switching from that options to forex, and so forex was kind of like the big thing in the U.S. for at least the last decade, right? When you talk about day traders coming up, a lot of them came up in forex. It's me specifically too, and so futures obviously kind of got popular over the last year because of the whole MetaTrader situation. But there's still some good forex brokers. There's still some good forex opportunities in terms of prop firms. I actually just passed an account with E8. The 50K account with them. And so I'm looking to see how they are. And then I'm going to probably, double up and double down. You can get up to 400K in funding with them. So I'm going to try and make that my goal this year to pass 400K's worth of challenges with them and then max out some of the future stuff too. Right. So I'm trading both markets now. But I would say like I trade a lot of different things, a lot of different assets. And I think trading currencies is probably underrated today, right? Like trading currencies is definitely underrated because they don't move as fast. Like I would hate, oh my God, I would hate to be a trader like that just started trading this year. And my first thing I ever traded was NASDAQ. Like I probably would have blew every account so fast, man. So it's like you gotta, I think currencies are easier markets to learn. I think they're easier markets to trade, period. Like and because we're looking at relationships between economies, right? These things can't fluctuate like crazy because they can't move extremely crazy because that's going to mess up economies, right? It's going to have real world implication. The Nasdaq has zero real world implications, right? Like people's, retirement funds are caught up in it and stuff like that, but like they can take price. To be completely honest, if you open up Nasdaq, they can crash Nasdaq. They can take Nasdaq all the way down to zero and then all the way back up to 22,000, right? Like it doesn't, there's no real world implications based on this other than people's like retirement packages and hedge funds and things like that. This is Nasdaq is a big game, right? Whereas NQ, whereas currencies actually have day-to-day real implications. So like if the Euro USD crashes, right, that's going to have real world implications between exchange rates between this company and that company. Or you going to take, a trip to Europe or something like that, or vice versa. So there's a little bit more like rules that have to be put in place that are managed between these assets which makes them easier to read and easier to trade, right? There might not be as much volatility, but you got to ask yourself, do you want more volatility and less ability to trade, control it? Because then with more volatility comes more emotions, more whipsawing, right? And you feel like you're going to war every single time you trade versus making, taking a step back, looking at currencies and making the read, right? And so honestly, I can trade both markets, but I'll say that currencies are easier. And again, I'm biased. I've been doing it for a decade. So my very first trades on Euro USD were March of 2015. So it's about 10 years ago. So I've been looking at this market for 10 years. So long story short, those are the markets that I trade. But I would say if you're a beginner and you're struggling, I know there's a lot of international people on this call, like a lot all over the world, because it's Trading Out as a global podcast. And obviously Forex is a global market, but start with, if you're struggling on NASDAQ and because that's the most popular thing, try currencies, try AUD, USD, try Euro, try breaking this stuff down there. It's not going to move as fast. You're not going to get as much of a dopamine hit, right? Making $10,000 or $5,000 or $3,000 in 10 minutes, but you're going to be able to read the markets, right? And I would much easily be able to choose, reading the markets properly and executing and watch the markets play out slower than you walking in and making $10,000, but then also losing $10,000 the next day. Like, and so you guys, like, there's a lot of people trying to do crazy things with like 50K challenge accounts where you have $2,000 worth of drawdown. They're trading whole contracts on NASDAQ with $2,000. And it's like, no, yeah, there's no reason why you're blowing your account. Even a micro is kind of crazy for $2,000. So at least to consistently grow an account over time. So you guys are supposed to be asset managers, right? So you gotta do what you gotta do to put yourself in the right space from a risk management and a psychology standpoint. And if that's currencies, cool. You could trade, currency contracts on futures, or you could trade Forex. But try it, if it's especially if you don't have any issues with NASDAQ and everything's working for you, but deep down, you guys know if you're profitable or not. So don't let me convince you otherwise. So that's I guess the little spill on the pairs that I trade. That's all I've really got for you guys. I will give my shameless plug for the Profit Playbook, which is my community. So what I dropped in the link here is the link to the community. And so basically that's the free version, right? So with that link, you get access to the free chat. You can see my updated analysis for everything. We also have an updated community as well, where it's more of a mentorship group. And so basically you get access to, my basically one-on-one mentorship, basically, or it's group mentorship, but, I work with traders to basically help them get profitable, right? And, trade, whether it's a funded account or, basically be able to read the markets better, right? I can't promise profitability, but I can promise you'll be a better analyst and you'll be able to read the markets. And so that really comes in three parts. The first part is obviously courses, right? So there's a YouTube style course that's on the website. And basically, you get to, have all access to all those videos where you can really see my strategy and the way that I think the markets. In my personal opinion, it's not enough to have a course, right? There's a lot of course sellers out there. You need to have the people that you can see the strategy, but then see it applied to. So with that being said, I go live at least 2 to 3 times a week because I really only trade 2 to 3 days a week. And with that in mind, I go live, and really just kind of show people my strategy, how it comes to life. And so what I want you to learn is my thought process, right? I'm not going to be a teacher forever. I don't want to be a teacher forever. I might still always teach some people, but I don't want to be a public teacher, right? Like I would rather easily much be a trader than just mentor people. But I love when people get it. And I love like the whole education side of things where you can see people learn in real time and get it and understand it. Like there's people in the community right now that are, man, they're getting funded challenges passed. They're getting payouts. They're getting, they're breaking down charts and throwing them in the chat. And so it's really cool to see some of the first traders that I've worked with over the past couple of years really starting to come into their own when it comes to the trading side of things. They're doing it in the Forex market. They're doing it in the futures market. Janie, she's passed a couple of challenges I saw Hugo in the chat, he posted a few. He passed one, I think, this past week for like Seacrest funding or something like that. So, which used to be my Forex funds or my Forex. It was my Forex something. It wasn't my Forex funds. It was the my funded Forex, I think was it. It used to be what it was called. But people are in there and they're passing challenges and they're getting, they're coming on live and they're showing their skills off and they're really getting a skill set for this. And that's really what you are supposed to do. You're an analyst. You're getting a skill set, right? And so they're getting access to capital, right? It's been really cool to watch some of these traders grow, right? And there's more in there. I know there's a couple people in there that I see in the chat that are doing things and they're just anonymous with it. So it's been really cool to watch people kind of grow, based on the stuff that I'm teaching out. And so I love that, but I'm not trying to be a teacher forever, right? I want to give this. I've learned a lot. I want to share a lot. And I want to help people do what they want to do. And one day I want you to look up and be like, I don't need you anymore. Maybe you'll still be in the group. Maybe you won't be, but you can at least have a skill set that you can use to pay your bills, teach your family, right? Like, really transform, the wealth if you let it to, or just pay bills, right? Like there's people I know that make 1,000, 2,000 a month that covers their mortgage, right? And they have enough to do what they want to do and they can use their job money for other things and invest it. There's other people that I know that are making millions of dollars doing this, and that's what they want to do. They want to be a millionaire day trader. And the option is yours, right? It's really what you make it. So I'm really happy to see people, doing those things, and really taking this stuff to heart. And yeah, I would say it all starts with really joining that free community, right? And so basically, there's two levels. Again, like I said, that free community where you come in, you could see access to some things, right? You can see the chat. You can see, some of the payouts that people are getting or some of the profit, the trades that people are taking. But the second level is that mentorship. And even with the mentorship, I make it as affordable as possible, right? So there's a 7-day free trial on that mentorship. So even if you sign up, you can be in the chat for a week. You can see some of the live sessions. You can join. And then once that happens, you have about a week before, you'd actually get charged. So you can quit in that time. You can say, hey, this isn't for me. Appreciate it. I looked at some of the videos, I looked at the course, whatever, and it's not for me. And that's cool. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Because everybody needs to find a strategy and the idea that works for them. But yeah, if you are, then you can be part of the community, be part of the family, and we're growing things really big. I have a lot of stuff planned, especially the one piece that I'm really trying to implement this year is more of the psychology piece. And so I've been working on some videos, been working on some course content that's going to really help with that. It's taken from a good book that really helped me change my mentality when it came to the psychology stuff and really defining my edge psychology wise, because you need a good technical edge, you need a good fundamental edge, right? A risk management edge, and then a good mental edge as well. So all those things make a great trader. It's not just technicals, it's not just on the charts, right? Two people, I can take two people and teach them my strategy, and one person's going to be successful and the other person's not going to be, because there's a lot of intangibles, a lot of mental side stuff that goes in trading that we also want to work and develop, right? So that's kind of the big thing for this year. And I'm happy that there's people all over the world that are seeing this. But again, it's a free Discord. Go ahead and join it and check it out, man. You have literally nothing to lose. So with that being said, that's all I got for you guys. I'm gonna stay on for a couple more questions. So it's about 11:30 right now. I got about 5 or 6 minutes, so I'll just wait for any new questions to come on. Don't be shy. Again, like if I was just now learning how to trade, like conversations like this, right, like would have helped me a lot, right? I've had mentors, right? And if anybody's followed my journey, you know that I always shout a couple people out. It's like 2 or 3 big mentors that I've had in my career that kind of took bits and pieces from all of them. But yeah, I mean, if I had a mentor that I could ask questions like this and bounce things off and watch them trade live, it would have helped my journey. Bro, I spent years. I spent years being unprofitable. I'd say probably a good 3 or 4 years of just blowing accounts, losing, because I didn't have anybody that could teach me this stuff. So, take advantage of this time. I'm online right now. Ask questions. Don't be scared. So that's my spiel. I got about 5 minutes. I'll kind of wait on the call. But yeah, take advantage. All right, guys. Let's see, about 2 more minutes. Again, if you guys have access to the community, join there. You can always find me on social media at Brinks Trades. You can find me on all social media there. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You're going to see a lot more social content. I'm building a new brand for the community, and something I think is going to really resonate. I really want to shake up the trading industry and offer some value here. And so I think there's a few ways that we're going to do it this year and really have a lot of fun doing it and really build an authentic community. So again, if you guys have any questions, you can find me at those social media platforms. Again, the best way to get in contact with me 100% is just join the community and start talking, right? Like that free community is the easiest way to really stay locked in with me, because it's the one that I check every day, and people are, it's an open chat, so you can just talk to anybody that's in there. You can, talk to me, right? I get a notification on that. I don't always see my Instagram stuff and my email stuff. So Tony, what's going on, man? What's going on? Hopefully you're having a good one. That work's still locked up, man. Hey, it's coming, man. Tony's also somebody that I'm really proud of, man. Over the past, honestly, Tony just joined the community not too long ago, but he's been following on these calls for the last, I don't know, year or so. And he's been talking about getting payouts. He's been talking, not payouts, but withdrawals. Because he's trading with his own money, but seeing things, right, and really growing, his skill set as a trader. I got to get you on the funded accounts, though, man. I got to get you on a funded account, because I think a good 100K funded account might change your your trading. At least get some bigger trades going on there too. So a good 200, good 100, 200. If you can rack up, I'd say maybe 300,000 to 400,000 in funding, I think you could profit comfortably. A couple thousand a month, right? I think risk to reward ratios on a 2 to 400K, you can comfortably make a few thousand a month, right? And that's with a $40,000 drawdown limit, right? A $30,000 to $40,000 drawdown limit. Easily take an account. You guys have seen me take accounts from $10,000 with real cash to $40,000, right? So it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible to do stuff like that. So and that's safe trading, right? It's not risking it all and gambling at all. So in 4 months, I took a $10,000 account to $40,000, and so there's definitely the opportunity to do stuff like that with funded and leverage other people's money. I'd rather put up $1,000 or $500 or $300 of my money and get access to $5,000 or $10,000 or $40,000 with the drawdown. So it's just taking things a little more structured and treating it like a business. So I'm ready now, coach. All right, Tony. Yeah, man, I love this guy, man. You're gonna see him. He's gonna be y'all gonna see him change his circumstances off of this, man. So, and so we'll be documenting that each step of the way. But yeah, so yeah, that's all I really got for y'all, man. So I'm gonna let y'all go. Have a good weekend. Study, do what you got to do, but remember, it's the weekend. It's the time away from the charts. Go enjoy life, right? You gotta be able to get away from these charts and go touch grass every now and then, right? So I'm gonna let y'all go. And if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to hit me on social. Peace.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Blackbull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Blackbull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. Get either the Essential Plus or Premium plans absolutely free. All you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Blackbull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below. Hey, start trading Forex, indices and commodities with up to 800k of Blue Guardian's capital risk-free. Just pay a small one-time fee to take the challenge, hit a profit target and get funded. Then keep up to 90% of your profits and enjoy fast weekly payouts. Now for futures traders, Blue Guardian Futures offers up to 450k in funding with 100% profit on your first 15k. With low targets, no activation fees and unlimited resets, it's one of the best deals in the industry. Visit blueguardian.com or blueguardianfutures.com to start trading today and grab their limited time discount code.